Hello, most this week's Thursday Videopodcast. Rob Parkinson, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul Whiteside. All right, Paul, how's your week been, mate?
Hey, Rob. Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Thank you. Yeah, good to be on the podcast again and looking forward to the show. But yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. I'm looking forward to Easter. I've had a bit of time off work and the festival of rugby league that is Easter. I mean, I was looking at the League Express today. It seems like there's matches on every day over Easter. There's even a game on Easter Sunday. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Very excited for it.
Yeah. Also, John's got Paul Parkin. How's your week been, Parky? Anything fun, exciting happening?
Not greatly. No, it's been obviously with no match. It's been a bit, I don't know, a bit slow really. Just trying to think. I watched quite a bit of rugby obviously over the weekend with the cup games and everything. But other than that, it started off quite slowly. But it's I think we're thundering towards the end now, and obviously, like Paul's just mentioned, the Easter period coming up. So not only rugby league, but obviously family as well and everything else. So it's it's getting to peak time again now. We're getting a mad rush. So I love the Easter period. I'm glad Super League hasn't put a stop to it yet. I know they're going on about playing too many games, this, that, and other nonsense. But really looking forward to it. And obviously I missed the podcast last week, which I listened to and I was blown away. I thought it was brilliant last week. So it's good to be back. I didn't want to lose my place. There's too many people vying to get on.
We had a full house last week. It was a really good show. All about learning disability and the physical disability and what the club are going to do and the planning to do parking. It was really kind of opened my eyes about how far the club's come.
Oh, it was fantastic. The work that's gone in what seems a relatively short time to organise such a a massive thing, and the learning disability thing, and even learning more about the kind of physical rugby league side of it, where it's there are different challenges and everything else, but it's a specific thing on its own, and the learning difficulty thing. I mean, the people who are involved in it are incredible, obviously, to take on that responsibility and that work. But it was really, really good. And like you say, I mean, the club, from 5-6 years ago where we had a first team, there you go, that's it. It is a community now. We've got, we're not just, like I've said a few times that Paul King said a few weeks ago, we're not box ticking. This is real. This is what the club want. And I can't help but just heap praise on them for what they're doing. It's fantastic, and hopefully we can see it all together in a big festival rugby league at some point where we might get them all playing on the same day. If we ever get a summer, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, Craig Fisher and Heather Robinson joined us. If anyone's not listened to it yet, I strongly advise you to listen to it. It was a fantastic podcast. Really enjoyed it, and I advise you to tune in and see what's going on at the coalface behind the scenes at the club. So what have I been doing this week? I'm 40 this weekend, Parky. So I've been planning for that. That'll be fun. Sort of 3 or 4 day sort of bender for me.
Yeah, 40 on a bank holiday weekend.
I know.
It just doesn't get any better than that, does it? I mean,
no.
You don't. By the way, you don't look a day over 39.
Yeah.
No, that'll be good for you. You obviously, I don't know what you're gonna do. Spend some time with the family and chill out a bit. A few drinks.
Warrington Thursday, family Friday, more family Saturday, chill day Sunday, Salford Monday. So it's all go really. Paul, obviously, you can't got to pace yourself like these rugby players who play Good Friday, Easter Monday. If you're celebrating birthdays, you can't go too early, can you?
No, that's it. But 1982 was a good year, Rob, wasn't it? All the good people were born then. I was born in 82 as well, a bit just a few months younger than you, but yeah, it was a good year, and it's going to be great. I mean, like you were just saying there, having your birthday at Easter time is great, but the rugby league at Easter, I mean, just going back to it, I mean, people going about Christmas and all that. I mean, yeah, it's great for the kids and all that, but I've always loved Easter. I don't know what it is. Ever since I left school, I've always had time off work at Easter where I booked time. People, what are you booking time for Easter for? Because it's rugby league. It's wall-to-wall rugby league. Even if Salford aren't playing, there's loads of games on the telly. There's loads of local teams on Hornets play Oldham, which is not far from where I live, and stuff like that. You got Wigan and Saints on the telly. And this year, with us playing Thursday, I might have a chance to watch Wigan and Saints and all the local because you can never normally watch them because we're normally playing on the Friday. So, I mean, I don't know whether I'm right in saying, is this the first time we've played Thursday since the deluge at Lee in 2008? I think it possibly might be when we played there on a Thursday night. So, and I think I spent all day Good Friday in 2008 sat in front of the fire trying to dry out because I had like pneumonia all day. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you'll have a smashing weekend with your birthday and all the rugby league that's going on as well, mate.
Yeah, super exciting. We've got a load of rugby league to talk about today. We're going to look back at the Wakefield defeat. We're going to look at the reserves at 2 games they've played since our last podcast. With all the big news coming out of the club through the week. We've got Paul's wonderful World Rugby League part of this show, and then we're going to preview the game against Warrington and Catalan on Bank Holiday Monday. So we'll start with the defeat against Wakefield. So Salford defeated 30 points to 24. Parky away from home against Wakefield. Talk us through it.
Tale of 2 halves, really, wasn't it? We started off too slowly again. I think I mentioned to you after the game, it reminded me so much of the Hull KR game at our place a few weeks earlier. We just didn't get out of the blocks in that first half. We give away a big lead, and it's virtually impossible to claw it back. We had a good go, by the way. I can't deny that we had a real shot, but you can't sort of in the last 40 minutes of a game, you can't put that much effort in for the full 40 and pull back that many tries. We were poor in the first half, but really poor. Some of our passing again was wayward. We didn't seem to have a direction when we did have the ball. It was all panic. We've said it a few times. Great playing off the cuff, but you need to set things up a little bit better rather than getting a set on their line and then fourth tackle just kicking it through to nobody or throwing a silly pass out. Build pressure. If you can't score, get a drop out. Keep building. I saw Wigan at the weekend play against Wakefield. That's exactly what they did at times. You ain't going to score every time. You set it up. You work to it. So that was disappointing. But second half, incredible. I thought at one point, we were going to do it. I thought, we had them on the ropes, and I think if the game goes on an extra 10, 15, maybe we do. But we just left ourselves too much to do again, and we can't keep doing that. We've got to start stronger. And even if you're behind at half time, keep it closer, because if you're giving 20 odd points to a team, 18 like we did against Hull KR, that's a lot to bring back in 40 minutes in Super League as you're tiring as well as the opposition. So we just need to start better. But it was a poor first half and a much improved second. Like I say, it was a tale of 2 halves.
Yeah, I think obviously the first half, Tom Johnston, Paul, scared to death of him, pace to burn. I know he tried, which is a little bit controversial, kind of a momentum forward pass that kind of pushed Wakefield clear and probably made a difference in the long run. But looking back, like Parky said, our GP gameplay intelligence wasn't great. Lynn tried. Where we kick through, they make a kind of an half break. We kind of half tackle him, and instead of sort of killing the play and dropping on the tackler, we let him play the ball quick, and he's up and he's away, and Lynn goes 40 and scores. Gameplay intelligence isn't just about attacking; it's about defending as well. And I thought at that point we were lacking there. Yeah,
it was. I think our contact and defence again was poor. Got off on the back foot, and yeah, you can say one of the Wakefield tries was a forward pass, but I think if you look at the game on a whole in that first half, they were the miles better side. They were more hungry for it, and I think with us, our last tackle plays half the time, with that indecisive, nobody knows what they're going to do, and when you're indecisive like that, nobody reads the play. Wakefield picked the ball up, and Wakefield marched down the other end and scored. So I think there was one where Andy Eckers he put a kick through or something. Somebody did something, but no one read it, and we were sort of all stood round not knowing what we were going to do. And Tom Johnston, I mean, you got to credit him. He only played 40 minutes, and he got man of the match. And no one laid a glove on him. But he's the perfect player. We kept kicking to him, and I thought, why do we keep dollying the ball to him? I mean, he's got power and pace. It's a lethal combination because he's dead hard to tackle, like a jack in a box. And he's got so much power and strength, and you just dolly him him to come on it. He's like chucking for a dog and letting it run back at you. And I just couldn't believe the way we was playing there. And no, I thought they bossed it, Wakefield. I thought they deserved the lead. And yeah, we come back at them in the second half. But I did expect that because they had a big cup tie the week after. So there was obviously they were going to take Johnston off and put the queue on the rack because I think they thought they got the game won. So yeah, I think the second half for us papered over some of the cracks. I think we was poor. We was poor again. And everyone keeps saying, oh, Warrington are this, that and the other. Warrington are going to come good sooner rather than later. They've got some good players and we can't afford to let them go 18-0 up against us on Thursday night because we're going to get steamrolled. We need to be switched on from minute one. But yeah, there was some good signs in that second half. I mean, I thought Brodie Croft, Mark Sneed, Ryan Brierley, they linked up well and we showed some good attacking signs. But that defence, that goal line defence as well, for me, it's soft. It needs to be tighter. There's got to be a bit more desire to defend that line because at the moment, we're easy to score points against.
Yeah. I thought Sitaleka Akawala was immense in that second half. So was Sam Luckley. Like Parky said, it was like Hulkingston Rovers all over again. We ran the throttle in that second half and just ran out of gas and ran out of time at the end. But obviously, Paul Rowley was happy with the second half performance. And you score 5 tries away from home, Parky. It was a disappointment for him.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said there, you score 5 tries away, you should win the game. But we didn't because we were miles off in that first 40. Just going back to what you said about that Reece Lynn try as well.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. What good teams do and good, clever players do is give a penalty away in that situation.
Yeah.
You lie on that extra few seconds, kill the play, get your line set. You know, everyone moans about penalties. We give stupid penalties away at stupid times. You watch St. Helens give penalties away. They'll give as many away in a game as we will, but it's where they do it and when they do it. And they'll slow you down on that first tackle to make sure they're set. And if they give a penalty away, they've got enough confidence to say, well, it's all right, you're not going any further because now we're set for you, we're ready. You're not making any of these breaks. And again, like Paul said there about kicking to John Johnston. Are we the only team that doesn't know he's probably the most dangerous winger in the league? Virtually, besides probably Tommy Makinson and Kenny Seo. You know, don't kick to him. Kick away from him. If you are going to kick to him, put it along the ground. Make him bend his back. Put a bit of pressure on him. All we were doing was just lofting the ball into his hands with no pressure. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, Paul Rowley, he will be happy with the second half because there was a spark there. There was we built a bit of momentum. And how many times do you see it in Super League these days that once a team gets on top, they can become unstoppable. But he's got to concentrate on what happens in the first half. He's got to drill it into them that you can't be 18 points behind in Super League. It's not acceptable, and you won't win games. You will lose, 90% of the games that you're playing if you're going to do that. It's getting tight now. It's getting really tight. Wakefield obviously beat us. They were one of the favourites for the drop. Toulouse look like they've picked up a little bit of form and maybe, going forward. And we seem to be going backwards a little bit at the moment. And that's a worry going forward, and hopefully it can start this week. We've had a week off. We've had a time to adjust and hopefully rest a few bodies. But I don't know. I mean, I listened to Paul Rowley with you after the game and I don't know. I understand what he does, and he diffuses situations and he tries to smooth things over. But I think he needs to just, I don't know, show his disappointment a bit more in that, especially that first half, and say that it's not, just tell it it's not good enough. We know it's not good enough, but we want to hear it from the top man. And let's not just sugarcoat it and say, well, we're better in the second half. Yeah, we couldn't get any worse. So of course we were. A lot of work to do. And I know we're missing certain personnel and we're not strong in the pack, but we've got to make the best of a bad situation at the moment. I don't think we're doing it.
Yeah, I don't think I can ask Paul Rowley why he keeps kicking to their best player without him jumping and not headbutting me. But I just, like you say, I suppose as back of the fag packet coaching, you kick it to their best players when he gets it in the first tackle. As long as you tackle him, then he'll have to might take him 2 or 3 tackles to get back in position. So then he's less of a threat. That might be something to do with it, Paul, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I can think back to the try he scored. I think it was the one before half time. I'm not going to name any names here, Rob, but Johnston walked through about 4 Salford players there who didn't lay a hand on him, and I thought that was pathetic defence. It was, and yeah, and Parky's right. You can't go around sugarcoating stuff. He wasn't good enough. He's not good enough. And the thing what worries me a bit now is, yeah, we've got 2 tough games coming up at Easter, Warrington and Catalans, and we've got Wigan and Saints. Toulouse, right, looking at the fixtures today, they play Catalan in a derby, which is going to be a tough game. Then they play OKR on the Monday in Toulouse. So that is a game I think they can win, because OKR are playing all in the big derby. They've got to fly over to France. So if they pick 2 points up there, they're right behind your coattails. At Easter time, there's not many sides that win both the matches for me. So teams are going to pick points up. St. Helens will probably win both games, or, you know, teams like that, because they've got the strength in numbers. But a lot of the other sides, you know, you win one, you lose one, don't you? And I just don't want to get to the situation in a month's time where those sides below us have caught us up, because at the moment we've got a bit of a cushion, haven't we? But like Parky said before, it's becoming a bit alarming at the moment, the way we're playing. We've not played well for a few weeks, have we? I mean, yeah, we played hard against Leeds, but the Wigan game was disappointing. Wakefield game was poor. So we need to stop that rot really now and start better in games, because, you know, like you said, the OKR game was a mirror image of that one. We're not putting together 80-minute performances. We're all right in little patches here and there, and that's not going to win you matches. And, you know, it might not keep you up. So, yeah, we need to. I'm not ringing the alarm bell saying we're going to get relegated, but I don't know. That defeat at Wakefield, I thought was a disappointing one. Really, they're not a great side. Wakefield, they're a side we should be beating.
Yeah, obviously positives: 2 tries from Rhys Williams, 2 tries for Ken Seal, 1 from Dion Cross. Parky, our backs sharp in that second half.
Yeah, well, when we get on top and we give them a chance, then yeah. But, you know, first of all, we've got to do something with the ball and keep hold of it. And build that, like I say, build the pressure, build the threat. We don't do that. And the amount of times in that first half where, again, like Paul said, it'd be a last play and someone would just do something. Someone would get the ball and kick it, or just, and everyone would be looking around going, well, what was that for? What, you know, nobody's aware of what's going on. Nobody's talking. Doesn't look like there's a planned move. I don't know if there is. You know, it's, like I say, it's great playing off the cuff, but there's got to be times when you've got to be structured. And we're not playing like that. But yeah, I mean, our backline, we've said it all year, our backline's, if you get everybody fit, is probably as good as most in the league. It's our forwards where the problems are going to lie. I mean, Kenny Seal, you give him a chance, he's going to score. You know, he doesn't waste many, does he? He doesn't get dragged into touch. He doesn't drop the ball very often. When he does, it's a massive shot. Rhys Williams took his chance well this week, really did. You know, when I read that Burgess wasn't playing, I was a bit deflated, because obviously, you know, Wakey have got a bit of pace out wide as well, and I was a bit worried because I don't think Rhys played brilliantly at Wigan. He wasn't shocking, but I think he just looked a bit out and off the pace. And Dion Cross, well, I mean, simply for us, he's the find of the season, and possibly one of the finds of the season for Super League. He's just been an absolute diamond for us. He doesn't make mistakes. He's another one. And he, you know, obviously knows where the line is. He was a winger, so he can score. But we need to set up the platform for him. If we do that, we've got a great chance. I think one of the disappointments for me at the moment is, I hate naming names, but I don't think Mark Sneed's doing enough. I don't think he's creating enough. I don't think he's controlling enough. Brodie Croft, when we get on top, he's a real threat. These little balls he plays or takes on the line, and, you know, generally gets his head through and looks round. I don't think Sneedy's doing enough at the moment. That's my worry. If him and Crofty can click, again, that backline is tremendous. We could easily do teams, but there's other players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just picking him out, but there are other players who aren't really pulling up any trees at the moment. But that's where we need to improve. It's interesting, you know, going on. I was looking at the man of the match reports we do every week, and first game of the season, Mark Sneed absolutely ran away with it. The man of the match poll, not a problem. He's not won a single point since. You know, and that's your scrum half. That's your main man. This is a man who's won, the Lance Todd. He has got the quality. He just needs to step up now and take control. He's our leader. He was our big coup in the winter, coming into this season. He was the main man. And if he starts to turn it on and lead us around the pitch, we're going to have a much better chance. I know he's got to rely on the forwards to make meters and give him a bit of space, but I think he just needs to start getting hold of the game a little bit more now.
Yeah, it's going to obviously the partnership with Brodie Croft, Paul, is developing. Let's say, Mark Sneyd, yeah, he started off well, but we did score 5 tries away from home, so it's not like we're 5 drives and a kick all game.
Conceded 5 as well, though. So
True.
you saw that scoring 5, but you conceded 5. So, and I get what Paul's saying about Mark Sneyd. I mean, that if you go back to that game against Cass on the start of the season, he bossed that game for us, and he's not been that same player since. Whether that's down to a confidence issue, I remember the game at Hull. That game seems to knock him backwards a bit when we went there, and he's not really been right since then. And sorry, you got to give players time on that, but how long do you give him? I mean, there's a player waiting really patiently in Chris Atkin, and I'm not saying for 1 minute drop Mark Sneyd. I mean, that's not my job to come on here and say stuff like that. But you've got to play well, and I feel for Chris because I think Chris is a real good player, and he's on the edge at the moment. And to be honest, I'd have him in the team. I'd have him on the bench definitely for replacement Hooker. Because I think he contributes. So, but no, I'd like Mark Sneyd to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. This weekend's perfect opportunity for him now. It's a big Easter weekend, and Warrington. It's going to be a tough game going there, and I think they've got a few players out. I think George Williams is out for them and 1 or 2 others. So that could be the game that Mark Sneyd, bosses it. And if he can get on top, we know what his kicking game's like. I mean. His kicking game's tremendous at times, isn't it? So if he can get on top there, and that could get us the result. But I think he just needs to dominate the games a bit more.
Yeah, the man who makes that was Paul Rowley. Talk to yourself. Paul, he said that basically we left too much to do in that second half. He was happy with the 5 tries. He was positive in attack, but obviously weren't happy about the contact and resilience and toughness in defence.
No, that's right. I don't think he was dead happy. I was sat with Trevor Hunt, and he came up to speak to Trevor for Radio Manchester, and I just said to him, "Can I tag you in and have a chat with you?" And I'm not saying he was in a bit of a mood, but you can tell by his body language when you first speak to him that he's a bit miffed with it all, and he's bound to be frustrated because it's not been all plain sailing, has it? And defeats are difficult. But I think the main thing for supporters and the coaches, staff at the moment is, like I said before, it's frustrating because you're not putting an 80-minute performance together. So you're showing signs in that second half, but the game's gone. I mean, I come away from that game and I speak to my dad on the way home, and it's like that game's there for the taking, really. We showed in that second half we can dominate Wakefield, but you can't afford to give them that sort of lead. So you come away from it frustrated, kicking yourself, thinking that's 2 points we've sort of gone down the Swanee, really. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the league table at the moment and thinking, 3 wins is all right, but it probably could be better than what it is at the moment. So yeah, I don't think we're a million miles off, but is the mitigating circumstances? I think maybe. I think we're missing players in the forwards, aren't we? I think that sort of body blow in the back row, losing your 2 back rowers, I think that's been a big blow for us, like losing Shane Wright and James Greenwood as well. So yeah, it's like Paul Rowley said in the interview, though, we've just got to do the tough stuff and do what we can and deal with it now, because we've not got multi-million pounds to sort of bring players in. So it's just getting through the situation.
Yeah, full of praise for Elijah Taylor and Ryan Lannon at Parky about the stint they put in that second row. But yeah, I suppose it's about consistency and hoping that we can get through this tough period.
Yeah, like Paul's just said there, we prove we've got it. In patches in games, we're a real threat. Like I said, you scored 5 tries last week away at Wakefield, which they're in a bit of form as well. I think it was the 4th game on the bounce they'd won. They're no dummies, especially on their own patch. We have got it. We just don't. We don't switch on for 80 minutes. We don't concentrate. certainly in defence, we get really sloppy at times and let teams score simple tries, like Paul said there about the one with Johnston just danced around God knows how many players. I mean, that's unacceptable for this level. But yeah, we have got to get through it, and the Easter's going to be very difficult. I mean, again, going off what Paul said, there teams like Saints will probably go back to back and win them both. I mean, they're all right, they're exceptional, but because of the depth of squad, they'll be bringing players in that we had on loan last year. They'll be taking that step. We haven't got that. So how do we back up 2 games with already the players we've lost? How do we do it? I don't know. It's going to be very, very tough. But this is rugby league. This is rugby league at the highest level. And these lads, have got to prove that they're good enough for this level. And the next month, the next 4 games, if you like, are going to be just ridiculously tough. We've got to get through it. You've got to play everybody. There's no hiding place in Super League. And I mean, Warrington, like we say, I know we're going to Warrington later, but they're not in great form. They're a good team and they will come good. And I've got no doubt about that. I think they'll still be in the mix at the end of the year. But is it a chance for us? We've had a week off as well. We analyse their weaknesses because obviously they'll be fragile. If we get off to a good start, who knows? But just sort of wrapping up the Wakefield performance, we proved we could beat them. We could have done if we'd have just started a little bit stronger and stayed in the arm wrestle a little bit longer. But no, there are signs that we've got something, but we just need to do it for 80 minutes.
Yeah, looking at the stats, Parky, tackles, Alex Gerrard, 35, Andy Ackers, 41, Elijah Taylor, 35, King Vuniyayawa, 36, Ryan Lannon, 30, Jack Monroe, 17, and Sam Luckley, 21. Working hard there, Paul, the forwards, grafting.
Not working hard enough, though. Not working hard enough.
No.
Yeah. The
tackles are there, though.
But there's a lot of missed tackles as well. I mean, I know we say that every week, don't we? But got to work harder. At this level, you've got to work harder and you've got to do more. And I think there's certain forwards who know that. I think they've got to make more meters than what they make. And they're working hard, but you've got to work harder. If you want to finish in that playoffs and be in that top 6, you've got to be ruthless. I mean, look at that James Roby at St Helens. I mean, the meters he makes every week. I mean, I was talking to somebody about him today. He's probably not like a sort of Cameron Smith sort of player. He's just like Mr. Perpetual Motion. Just keeps going like a Duracell bunny. That's what you want. Anyone can do that. You'd have to have talent to do that. I mean, obviously he's a talented player, but you've got to die for the cause. I mean, you've got to put it in, and I don't know. Do we put it in every week? I mean, I'm not asking Salford to be like the Australian Kangaroos. All I'm asking for is 100% effort, and do that little bit more. So yeah, there's hard work going on there, but I want to see a bit more. I want to see that goal line defence be stronger and tougher, because it's easy to break down at the moment. How many tries do we concede from kicks, short kicks, soft stuff? I think the soft tries, like, you cut those mistakes out, and you're going to hang on in games a bit more. So yeah, the lads are working hard, but let's just see a bit more.
Yeah, top meter makers, Park. Reece Williams, 122. Ken Seo, 137. Tim Laffey, 108. Forwards, Sitaleka Akawala, 60. Elijah Taylor, 91. King Vuniyayawa, 105. Ryan Lannon, 75. Sam Luckley with 71. So obviously, I always say that if you can get 4 or 5 over 100, then you're going in the right direction. We got 4, and that's why we're close, but not close enough.
Yeah, I think obviously just going back to what you said about Taylor as well. He's a real workhorse, isn't he? He's in both them stats there as one of the top tacklers and top meter makers, and you get that every week. And that's going back again to what Paul said about, are all the players doing that? Are they all putting it in like that? Do they all care as much? I've seen comments from people saying on social media asking what does Elijah Taylor bring to us? I scratched my head, and I think these are people who I have faith in knowing a bit about rugby league. The guy's a machine, an absolute machine. He does not stop. He's a leader on the pitch. He's not going to do the flashy stuff. That's not him. If you are loose forward like Paul Sculthorpe, then fine. I mean, we'd all love one, but they don't exist that often. He's a worker. And this week, again, he's just proven what graft he puts in. I just think he's a delight to have in your team, and I'm sure if you ask Paul Rowley, I'm sure he's the first name on the sheet every week. But going forward, yeah, Big King again. He was decent. I thought for me, my and I know you'll read him out a bit. My man of the match was Sam Luckley. I thought he just did everything in his time on the pitch. You know, he didn't play that long. He's been out for a few weeks, so getting his match fitness back. As soon as he came on, he made a difference. You just saw the effort on him, and he takes responsibility when he takes the ball, and he doesn't shy out of the game. And then again, you mentioned he did tackles as well. I mean, that's what I want from my players. I want players just to put the nut down. I'm not asking them. They're not all world beaters. They never will be. But just do your bit, and that's if we had 17 of them every week, you won't go far wrong. But yeah, the defense was spread out a bit this week, wasn't it? It was quite a bit of work. And then on the attack, I mean, you expect the backs to get a few meters. Tim Laffey in there again, who has been again another great signing this year. He really does put the work in. But yeah, it's just got to all come together, hasn't it? And like Paul said, a little bit more, and let's do it for 80 minutes.
Yeah, big thanks for your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. We'll start with you, Parky. Slow starters again, Sam Luckley, Matt Carr, on to Warrington. His man of the match was Sam Luckley. Adam, definition of madness, Taylor. Mark, Wide Awake Club, King Vuniyayawa. Phil Rogers, must start better. John Waite, some amateur defending, Taylor. And finally, Arthur Bollard, sloppy defence, Taylor. So, I suppose, parted by that first half, Paul. Battle back second half, ran out of juice in the end.
Well, that Elijah Taylor didn't do too bad then, does he? Because he got like 3 or 4 there. I saw that comment on social media. I don't know who it was, but yeah, everyone's entitled to an opinion. But I'm in the same boat. You watch Taylor and the work that he does, and I think the vocalness of him and the presence of him and the sort of human being that he is, he'd be first on team sheet for me, just for his leadership skills, and you can see the effort he puts in. You look at him when he walks off the pitch; he's absolutely fagged out because he's worked his socks off, and he does it every week. So yeah, I understand what people say sometimes because people sort of notice the flashy stuff and things like that. So I do get that. But I thought Taylor was great again on Sunday. Just a shame that breakthrough. He couldn't have got that ball to Ryan Brierley because that could have been a big changing moment in the game. So yeah, I don't think I put a man in the match really. I wasn't too sure who to go for, but I thought Taylor was good again, and those some big performances. And King Vuniyayawa, who we mention every week, I think I've been really impressed with him. I think he'll get better as the season goes on. I think like Tim Laffey as well. I mean, talking to somebody about him the other day, what I find he's every week. You mentioned Dion Cross before. I think Dion Cross is one of those players who's an 8 out of 10 every week. I think Tim Laffey is an 8 out of 10 every week. You don't really see him do many poor things. Everything he does he's more or less right. Nothing flashy, but everything he does is perfect. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And if you've got blokes like that in your team, you're halfway there.
Yeah, I think Elijah Taylor is better suited for the second row for what he does, which is make his tackles, make his yards, drive people on. Personally, I like a pivot as me loose forward. That's not his game, Parker. His game is to work hard, graft, make tackles, and obviously he's played second row because we haven't got any second rows. But for me, I'd just keep him there.
Yeah, maybe. The question is then who plays loose forward? Who is that pivot? I don't think we've got one in the squad in that way. I don't think we've got a real ball playing forward. Perhaps maybe Harvey Levette when he comes back. If we get him back at any time soon, I think he's got that about him. But again, he's a second rower himself. So does he want to play? I don't know. It's a tough one. I'd like to see him back in the squad, by the way. But that's the problem you've got. If you move Taylor from loose forward, have we got anybody who's going to do anything different to what he does? And I don't think we have at the moment. I understand what you're saying, and Taylor could easily play anywhere in the pack. I know he's played hooker in the past in Australia. So, he's that versatile around that pack. I'm sure he could go propping if you wanted him to. But, yeah, the loose forward is a bit of a tricky one, really, for us, isn't it, at the moment? But I think he might have to stay in the back row with our injuries in the second row.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think obviously he works hard, and obviously that makes up for obviously not having a specialist second row, and obviously with Lannon there as well. I think that they played really well on Sunday, and I think it was Armonroyd at loose forward. Paul, I thought he looked okay, running wide, running at smaller defenders. Obviously, it was not a loose forward, so he's not ball handling, but he's finding space.
I think going forward for me, Jack Armour will probably be better suited to play in the second row. He's got a bit of pace and he's a big lad. If we can get him on the training field, running out wide, running in the channels, a bit like when we first got Andy Coley when he came over from Swinton, he had a lot of pace, and I think in the end he became a prop. But a lot of his best years at Salford were in the back row. So Jack Armour could be that sort of guy. I like that in teams, having big back rows. I mean, look at Liam Farrell at Wigan. How many tries has he scored in his career? He scores more tries than a lot of wingers do because of the way he plays the game. So I'd like to see. I think that could be a possibility for all. I'm not saying loose forward, because I think people in rugby league forget loose forward is probably one of the most important positions on the pitch, because it's that link between your forwards and your backs. You're the sweeper. You're everything. I mean, some of the best players I've seen at Salford have been loose forward players. I mean, look, Mark Flanagan was. The job he did was tremendous. And I think we've missed him. We've never really replaced him since he's gone. So it's a specialist position. And like Parky said, I don't think there's anybody else. I know Danny Addy's played there, but for me, he's not a loose forward. Never in the memory of man. He's more sort of a utility sort of forward, really. So, or a bit of a hooker. He's not big enough for loose forward. So I don't think we've got anybody else at the club at the moment who can do that job. I must admit, I'm really looking forward to seeing Harvey Levette coming back. I think he's a quality player, and just been such a shame he's had injuries, because he'll be like a brand new player for us. And he was going great for us last year till he went out. So could he be the guy that steps in there, can move the ball about? We'll have to wait and see. But one guy who I think deserves a shout out from me in particular is Ryan Lannon, because I've been a bit of a critic of him in the past. And just thinking the other day, he's been playing really well, and I think he's probably our longest serving player as well. I was having a look, reading an old programme the other day. He's been at Salford some years now. I mean, I know he left to go to OKR, didn't he? But he's probably put a few appearances in, and I think he's worked hard last few weeks, so he deserves a pat on the back.
I suppose he has that extra responsibility, Parky, of being the only second row. So he's got to make sure that he does what he needs to do right, rather than get pinged or whatever penalties we can't afford to lose him when the situation with him.
Yeah, I think probably Paul Rowley's had a word with him as well to kind of say to him, look, you're not a young lad anymore. This is your time now. You're in the prime. This is where you make your mark going forward. And he flatters to deceive sometimes. I don't know if I've said it on here before, but I know I've said it plenty of times in the South Stand and stuff, that when he came through, and it was obviously he's related to Gareth Hock in some way, isn't it? He reminded me of that kind of player. He was a bit marauding. He was a bit difficult to tackle. He was and a maverick, a bit like Hock was. And then he seemed to go backwards, and then we let him go out on to Hull KR, didn't we? And we had the swap deal with Daniel Murray and all that kind of stuff. And then when he came back, he seemed disinterested to me. I don't know what it was. He didn't have that sort of vibe about him. But then, like you say, the last few weeks, he seems to have changed again. And I think there may have been a few words behind the scenes about his discipline and how much he's actually, concentrating on rugby league and doing his job. And then all of a sudden, he's just switched, and he seems like Paul said there. He's been around a while now, but he seemed like a senior player in that pack now. And he's trying to make a mark, and he's trying to keep his nose clean. And if he does that, I've seen it in the past. He has got talent. There's no doubt about it, and he's a proper second rower. But he's just got to put it together now and use it, that maturity, and hopefully, stay fit, and he can probably boss around that second row.
He did score a wonder try against Warrington about 2 or 3 years ago. He's got wonderful feet, super quick when he gets in open spaces. Just need him on the edges, really. If you can get him on an edge, he can go. So yeah, obviously our only second row, so such an important role for him at the moment till we get some more bodies back. So let's talk about the reserves now, Paul. 2 games for them since our last podcast. Videopodcast. They've travelled to London and drew 30-all. Tries from Henry Davis, Nathan Taylor, Jack Stevens, Matty Unsworth and Josh Rourke. 4 goals from Callum Green. 30-all draw at London.
Yeah, it's a tough place to go, London. We said that, didn't we? And to go down there and get a draw is probably not a bad result. And no, they finally defeat the reserves, aren't they? Let's have it right. They've not played that long together. There's a lot of new players in there, and Danny Barton seems to be moulding a decent side there. I mean, I know the Huddersfield game at the weekend they were beaten, but Huddersfield are a good side. They had some decent players in their lineup, so it's good. It's just good that they're playing, and we've got that reserve team in place, really, to be honest with you. And no, I think it's vital. It's vitally important, for us going forward to have those players in our pool. We've not got the biggest squad in the world, so if we have got a reserve team, we've got a team for players on the fringes to play, and I think it's only a good thing. But no, I think the draw down in London was no mean feat, really. It was a hard working display.
Yeah, they were 18-4 down at one point, Parker. So to get back to level scores and tie the game shows character for me.
Yeah, well, I think we said last week, or the week before, when we were previewing it, that going down there was going to be difficult, travelling on the day and everything. I think the trouble is you get off the coach down there, you get a bit stiff, whatever. It might take you a while to get into a game. It's not going to be easy. So to be behind isn't really a surprise. But like you say, to come back in the way they must have done and get a point out of the game is, it's full credit to him. Like Paul said there, there's still a new team. They're still getting used to each other. It's going to take, it might take a couple of years for this team to develop. And obviously not all them players will stay together, but that nucleus of what we need, if they can start to bond and learn off each other and become a proper team, who knows? And then you start adding, a couple more in as the first team gets stronger, the reserves will get stronger. And that's where they've got to go with it. But, no, it's encouraging. It's going to take time. We haven't had a reserves for, I don't know how long now, is it 10, 20 years? I don't know. So it's going to take time to put together and find the right players. And as we go, certain players will drop off and new ones will come in. But we just got to get game time in the lads and see what, get them tested at that level before we even dream of getting them up into the first team squad. And I mean, Jack Stevens scored again there. And what I've seen of him, I think he's a tremendous player. And fingers crossed he can continue to develop within that setup and start to mould into the first team. But it's going to take a while before we see the fruits of that labour. But, they can only do what they can do at the moment.
Yeah. And then they faced Huddersfield this week and lost 38 points to 14. Tries from Nathan Taylor, Jacob Lee and Lewis Hall. Goal from Escara. They basically, Paul, they were 12-0 down after 15 minutes. They battled back with a try from Nathan Taylor, but then obviously Huddersfield found another gear. We kind of got a couple of late tries to make the score a bit more respectable, but Huddersfield are a good side. So it was a tough day at the office for the Reds.
Yeah, it was. I know Huddersfield supposedly got a good youth set up there, haven't they? Ian Watson talks about that, doesn't he? And they've had some decent players come through to their first team. And yeah, it was always going to be tough going there, wasn't it? So there's promising signs, though. Like Paggy said there about Jack Stevens, he's a very, very exciting player, and he's a player I've enjoyed watching, and he's one of those that you just keep in your eye on now and hoping he can get that that jump into the first team. I mean, Mark Sneed's not getting any younger, is he? And if Jack Stevens can learn off players like Mark Sneed and Chris Atkin, Brodie Croft, and he can learn his craft and make his way into the first team, I think that for me, that's what it's all about. I mean, I know Jack. I'm sure he's a Wiganer. I think his dad's a Wiganer anyway, because he followed me and I follow his dad on Twitter and he follows me. But I'm sure he's from that neck of the woods. But even though he's not a Salford lad, if he's not, to come through the system at Salford and then go on to the first team, that's what we're all striving for. Right? I mean, when you get players like that, those players. I mean, look at Niall. Look at the time he had at Salford. I mean, I was so disappointed when Niall left. Not just because he was a quality player, but because he was like the fabric of the club, and you'd sort of grown up watching him and seeing him develop. And then he's just one of you, then, isn't he? He's one of us. And I think you get that when you get a player coming through the system. So for me, not Jack Stevens as well, some of the other players in the reserves, I've really got my eye on those guys, and I'd love to see some of them blossom and come into the first team in the near future.
Yeah, I like Jacob Lee. I think he's about 6'5". He's about 17. He's Welsh, second row, scored, I think in Lee Mossop's testimonial, scored again at Huddersfield. He's a unit, Parker, and he'll take some stopping when he gets near the line. And also Nathan Taylor, we spoke to him on a previous podcast when he played for England students, I think, against the Great Britain teachers. So he scored 2 in 2 games.
Well, if we can bring through some forwards with a bit of bulk, I think that's the key for us right now, isn't it? Because we can't go out and just sign huge players or anything like that. That's what we need. So that'll be interesting to see. I've not seen much of the reserves this year. Obviously, I've seen the odd bit and the friendlies and that kind of thing. But it'd be interesting to see how they do develop. But if we've got these promising players, especially the Welsh lads that we brought, because I know there's a lot of hope, and I heard really good things about them before we signed them, that we needed to go out and land these lads before somebody else comes in and gets them. So hopefully we can see them develop and get them in the first team. I know they're only young and inexperienced in the game, and that's a different side of it, the physical side and the actual understanding the game and how it flows at that level. But in the next couple of years, hopefully, we can bring these lads through. And we're not going to be in this position again where we start a season with, you're looking around at your pack going, well, who's, we haven't got any size or anything. And you can bring these kids in who are massive, who are only going to get bigger. That's what we've lacked for a long time, I think. And I look forward to seeing it. And hopefully we get to see the lads, the reserves play, before a first team game at some point, even after a first team game. Yeah. Again, and make a day of it, and we can all stay around and make your own opinion on the lads.
Yeah. So that's all the chat about the 2 games. Now we'll look at what's happening with the news with the club this week. So, news this week, Paul. The Easter ticket office times have changed slightly. No late night Thursday this week. It's open 10 till 4, Friday 9 till 2, and Saturday 9 till 12. So, opportunity for fans to nip down and get tickets for matches.
Yeah, definitely. Don't forget the Warrington game's Thursday. So if you want your tickets for that, you need to get down this week, don't you, for that game? And we always take a good follow in there. I mean, I saw Warrington panicking on Twitter saying it could be the lowest crowd they've ever had. Some of their supporters were saying, I think the lowest Super League crowd there was about 3,200 or something. I thought every time we go there, there's always a big crowd there at Warrington. We always take about, I'd say 1,500 in that stand there. So perhaps we're underestimating us a little bit, but I enjoy going there. It's a fantastic atmosphere there. We had some good wins as well. I mean, we had a few thumpings along the way, but we generally seem to do all right in that game. So yeah, get your tickets. I mean, that'll be a top game that Thursday night. Get your ticket for that, you'll enjoy it. And then obviously the Catalans game on Monday. Catalans are a good side, aren't they? Coming off the back of a French derby. And I mean, I must admit, I'm looking forward to watching that Toulouse against Catalans game. I'm gonna take that on Sky. It's Thursday night, and that should be something special to watch. And watching them two knock 7 bells out of each other, it might give us a chance against Catalan on Monday. But yeah, get down and get yourself some tickets, because Easter Rugby League, as I said before, it's special, and weather looks all right as well. So bank holiday Monday at Salford against Catalan, it should be a good day.
Yeah, VX3 Parky have been listening to you, please, and they've brought out the free tee worth £28 if you purchase a replica shirt. So all our listeners should be on the old interweb purchasing the shirts. It's on, the offer's on till midnight Sunday, I think. So hopefully a lot of people will be treating themselves over Easter.
Well, yeah, you get a free T-shirt, which, like you say, is 28 quid. I mean, you're buying your replica shirt for half price, basically. We're not even halfway through a season. I mean, usually you get these deals towards the end, don't you, where they're selling off the stock. But this, you can't do anything wrong. They've got the Magic shirt there. We're nowhere near playing that yet, so you can get that early. I mean, again, they're trying, aren't they? They're really trying to, get. I think obviously it benefits everybody, doesn't it? The club and themselves. But it's a good deal. Absolutely brilliant. I think the shirts like, what are they, 50 quid? You're paying 28 quid. You're getting a free shirt for 28 quid as well that you can wear. And like Paul said, the weather seems to be bucking up a bit, so might be t-shirt weather soon. So yeah, no, brilliant. Well done to them and the club for getting the deal on.
Yeah. On Thursday, Warrington and Salford have come together to promote the opportunity for fans to bring non-perishable food to the ground to obviously provide for food banks for fans. People are obviously struggling. It's tough times for everyone. Paul, so if you've got any non-perishable food, if you want to help your fellow fan out, pop down. It opens at 6:30, the collection points at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. So do what you can and help your fellow man and woman.
Yeah. What? Forgive my ignorance. What's non-perishable food, like tin stuff and stuff that don't go off? Like,
tin stuff.
Yeah. No, it's a good cause. Good cause. I mean, yeah, it's difficult at the moment without being too political. I think people in general are struggling, aren't they, with the way bills are going and that. I mean, I get people moaning at me all day long at my job saying, "Oh, why is the gas bills going up and all?" It's like I say to them, "Well, I don't get it for free. I have to pay as well." But I can understand where people are coming from. Things are dear and it's difficult, isn't it? But if you can't afford to eat, then you are in a real state, aren't you? So people, might really need that. So if you can help out and bring something, it is a good cause, because you don't want children and elderly people and people like that not being able to eat food and that. So yeah, good cause that.
Yeah, obviously rugby league people coming together over Easter Parky. Hopefully they'll get a lot of donations and people will be able to obviously enjoy their Easter.
Yeah, well done to him. Well done to Warrington for that. Full credit to him. There's a lot of people out there really struggling. Everybody seems to be struggling now, but there are people out there you don't realise how little they really get and how much little they've got. And no, fair play to Warrington. It's good that. I mean, I don't suppose it's very easy for many Salford fans to cart stuff down if you get in the train or something like that, or a bus. But I hope some people can do that. But no, fair play to them. It's like we say, it's all about the community. Rugby league. It's both your own community and your own towns and cities, and the game itself, how it looks after each other. It's one thing that we should be rightly proud of in the game, that we do look out for each other. I mean, you see what rugby league community done for Rob Burrow and Mossy Massor and people like that. I mean, we do look after each other. So as much as we have these intense rivalries with each other, at the end of the day, we're all the same, aren't we? With rugby league fans, I think. So no, fair play to Warrington for that, and I hope they get some stuff in.
Yeah, I looked on Twitter, Paul. Canada Rhino's he's called Lewis, broke his arm. Obviously, we hope he recovers soon and gets back playing the game that we all love.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Yeah, it's a bad one breaking your arm. I remember breaking my arm when I was about 13 playing football, and you think it's the end of the world, and it was bloody painful. So I understand what he's going through. I remember doing mine, and I had mine put in plaster, and I could move the plaster down. So when I was at home, I could do my bits and bobs. When I went to school, I could pull it forward, so I don't have to do any writing at school. So I fiddled my way around. But I remember doing it. I playing football. I went home to my dad. My dad grabbed hold of my arm and he says, "Paul," he said, "there's nothing wrong with it." And I went, "Oh, Dad, I think I broke my arm. I need to go to the hospital." He went, "Nah, you just jarred it." So get him some peas out of the freezer. Anyway, they took me to hospital and I broke it in like 3 places. So thanks a lot for that, Dad. So yeah, I understand what the lad's going through there. So speedy recovery, mate, and I'm sure he'll be back playing for Caddyhead sooner rather than later.
I broke my arm falling off a rope swing, Parky. Sat on my arm basically, made like an S bend out my wrist. Went to the hospital, got it straightened out on my dad, and obviously put me out. And this Cockney doctor came up to my dad, and he said to him, "Are you Rob's dad?" But in a Cockney accent, it sounded like "You're Rob's dead," which blew his mind at one point. He always talks about it, but it was really one of the most painful moments in my whole life. And the worst thing was, as I had pins in my wrist, and the pins were like set between the two bones. So when it got time to taking the pins out, they had to kind of trying to pull it out. It was about, I don't know, 15, maybe 14, 15 at this point. So the doctor and the nurse held me down and then tried to pull it, but wouldn't go. So then they had like 3 or 4 other people trying to hold me down while they pulled it out. And it was the first time I swore in front of my mum. There's a fact for you, which was unbelievable. Have you ever broke anything, Parker?
Yeah, I broke my arm, broke my wrist actually, falling out of a tree. Yeah, I thought it was quite cool actually when I had the plaster on, because it was about the same time as Gary Lineker had some strapping on his arm in the World Cup in '86, I think.
Yes.
So I felt a bit Gary Lineker-ish. I was only a youngster then. I wasn't much of a tree climber. I don't know what I was doing in the tree. It was actually at the back of the old Willows, the squash centre that used to be facing the Willows. I don't know why I was in a tree. I don't know what I was doing, but my best mate at the time managed to drag me home on some lino. Literally dragged me down the back alley. Anyway, very, very bizarre situation. But no, going back to the incident, I mean, sadly, it's happened, but he's learned earlier that rugby league's a tough sport, and you do get these bumps and bangs, but hopefully he'll be back training soon and showing off his arm to everybody and getting back in the game. But yeah, no, speedy recovery to the lad. I know we all know what it feels like by the sound of it. It's not a nice feeling, but no, good luck to the kid and hope he gets back soon.
Yeah. Final bit of news. I want to thank everybody who's donated coffees through our Ko-fi fund. Lou, Dom, Andy Lancashire, Banners, Mike, Glennis, all donating coffees and helping us fund the podcast. Can't say how much I appreciate that. And thanks for everything and thanks for the money, and we'll put it to good use on the podcast. So that's all the news, and now we'll look at what's happening in the world of big Frank Tuesday, this week's Devil in Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD, and you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. See you next week.